Flint Board of Education.
Hello.
I would like to call the Flint Board of Education annual budget hearing meeting to order at 5:31. I got 5:32. Board members, I call your name. Please say present for the record. Trustee King?
Present.
Treasurer Luna?
Present.
Trustee Relaford? Here. Vice President Clack?
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer McIntyre?
Present.
Tired. Secretary Perkins, absent, and myself present. 5 present, 1 absent. At this moment, we will have our tax levy presentation. I would like to ask the
excuse me.
CFO, Ms.
Madam
Chandra,
President,
please,
Madam
to
President,
come forward.
Madam President, you said 5 and 1 is 6 and 1. 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. I would like to ask the CFO, Mrs. Chandra Cleaves, to come forward for the presentation of the tax levy. Thank you. How you doing today?
Okay. Good evening, Board of Education. Welcome to the budget hearing tonight. We're going to first start with the 2024 tax levies. It's on. Let's speak. Can you hear me now? Okay. So we're going to start with the 2024 tax levies. The total tax rate that may be levied for the fiscal year begins July 1, 2024, and ends June 30th, 2025 is as follows. For the operating fund, we're able to levy 18 mills, sinking fund 1.1796 mills, and debt fund 2.82 mills. And this information comes from Genesee County. And that's it for the tax levy portion.
Do anyone have any questions or comments?
I have one.
Proceed.
And just for these mills, do we know when, I guess for lack of better words, when they have to be approved again?
So for the operating fund is 2030, and for the sinking fund is 2040, and then debt fund should be 2045.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any more questions, comments? And we can proceed on.
Okay.
I
So
will
next up is our fiscal
Oh,
year.
you got some more stuff? Well, she's not done. I thought she was done, but she.
Madam President.
Yeah.
So the order says call to order, tax levy presentation, then comments from the public, and then new business. Is she still
Yeah,
on
you're
the
correct.
tax levy presentation?
That's how we're gonna go. Seeing we have no one from the public to make comments,
Point of
Go ahead.
order. If you,
you want me to read the whole thing for you?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
no
just,
problem.
just so that we
So
follow.
what the record is, all
protocol.
right.
Yes, thank you, Madam
Thank you,
President.
love you for that. The board would not hear comments and any question regarding the tax levies from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on matters with the authority of the board and not address individual by name. The presiding officer of the board should have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Please state your name and address before speaking. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak as it relates to the taxes or any other comments? Seeing none, we'd like to thank you. Proceed.
So next on the agenda is the fiscal year 2023-2024 final budget amendment. Okay. So there was a budget amendment 2 that came before the board on May 15th, 2023, Revenue was estimated at 162 million, expenditures 166 million, and the fund balance would have a reduction of 3 million. The estimate for the final budget for June 30th, 2024, revenue is 164 million, expenditures, hold on. Are $168 million, which would be a reduction of the fund balance of 4.7 million. So the key variables that impacted this final budget amendment was we had a curriculum purchase that was unallowed in our ESSER grant and had to be moved to general fund. Why this was unallowed is because it was more, the curriculum purchase was for more years than what ESSER would allow us to cover. So it just wasn't for 1 year, it was more than 1 year. So we had to move those funds back to general fund, which caused the increase in our fund balance. And also making sure we maintain the grant revenue neutral accounting structure. So we were able to move items from general fund into ESSER grant, and that's why you see the increase of the $816,000 for the fund balance.
Madam President? How much was that curriculum purchase expected to be that was to be covered by ESSER, and how much did we have to accrue through the general fund?
So the total curriculum purchase was $5 million, and so we had to offset general fund by $1 million. So ESSER was able to cover $4 million of that.
Okay, that was my follow-up, but we did, so $1 million for the general fund for curriculum. Is curriculum, and maybe you're not able to answer this question, but through you to the superintendent or the academic director, it's just my understanding that most of the curriculum is covered through title money, through grant money. How much curriculum expenses are generally covered through general fund?
So when it comes to curriculum, it is something that you are supposed to offer. So it should be a general fund expense. Now, when we have intervention programs, those type of curriculums can be offset through a title or I would say grant funds. But most of the time when you're buying new curriculum, that is a general fund expense. Just like a teacher, you're supposed to have a teacher. But if you're going to get an assistant teacher, that is intervention most of the time, so you can pay that out of a grant budget. So most of our new curriculum is paid for out of general funds because it is something that you must offer. It is not something that offsets or is an intervention in itself. You have to have a math curriculum. So
Correct.
title funds doesn't take care of curriculum that is the foundation of your work.
Right, I understand that. I know that we're supposed to buy this, but like, for example, with the Spanish curriculum, with the music curriculum, with some of the, I know that we're supposed to buy it. It should come from the general fund, but sometimes we can be creative and get grant funding or title. I mean, it's not necessarily title funding or special education funding. And so was there any way to see if that perhaps could get covered in, I'm assuming, of course, because you guys always do this, so it's no disrespect, but it's just hard to see like $1 million come from the general fund when we're just so tight in every aspect. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
I completely understand
because I
where you're
know
coming
we've
from.
got to have the curriculum, but
If there was any
Trying-
other way, we have already exhausted. She's been working very hard to exhaust any other way to pay for that. We are happy that you're able to keep $4 million in there.
Thank you.
but some of the other curriculum, like the Spanish, some of those things were able to be paid for ESSER because it's about right now.
Okay.
And we're not going back to get more materials later. We paid for the materials, it's done, it's over with.
So, yeah, thank you for answering that question. I assumed that those were the answers, but I just wanted to do my due diligence, so thank you for your patience.
And just kind of to follow up to your question, the curriculum was for more than 1 year. So another grant is still only for the 1 year, so that's why we had to move it to general fund also.
Madam President?
Yes.
So, Ms. Cleese, how are you?
Good.
So if we get grants, if we get a grant in to cover that curriculum, could we switch that money, could the money go back to general funds if the following year we get grants to cover the curriculum?
It would depend on if the grant would allow for that. So
Okay.
normally when you get a grant, they give you a grant period.
Correct.
So if they allow us to go back, we would be able to move it. But if they want us to start from whenever we were awarded for that grant, we would not be able to.
Okay. Could you make a note to ask to see? So the goal is just to keep general funds as high as we could keep it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any more questions or comment? Seeing none, proceed.
So we're going to move on to the fiscal year. This will be 24-25 initial budget, but we're talking about, of course, we're still in the 23-24 budget year. So for the final budget, we already went over that the revenue is 164 and the total expenditures is 168. For the initial budget, the estimated revenue is 77 million. And then the estimated expenditures are $81 million. So this would be a deduction from the fund balance of $10 million. The key variables that impact this initial budget, one, the budget is based on student enrollment of 2,700 pupils. So we know once we know for sure what our enrollment will be in October, when we start receiving our state aid, I will be able to adjust there. But right now, the budget is based on 2,700 pupils. The per pupil allocation budgeted is 241, and this is based on the governor's proposal. Once again, grant revenue neutral accounting structure. Salary increases 1 step for teachers, and also we are currently in negotiations with the paras and Congress. So any salary increases outside of 1 step would not be in this budget. Also, ESSER funding ends 9/30/2024. So items that were moved from ESSER to general fund would be salaries. Also, we had utility costs, contracted costs, sub costs. All of those have been moved into this general fund budget. There have been no one-time costs, because they, of course, are one-time costs that we pay for in ESSER, such as the curriculum and any construction. All of that was one time, so that would not be reflected in this budget.
Madam President,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaves, salaries were blended, where some came from general funds and some came from grants. Is that going away?
So currently, it was split between ESSER and title.
Okay.
So it still will be split between general fund and title in this 24-25 budget.
Okay, so all salaries are not coming out of general fund?
Just the percentage that were charged to ESSER.
Okay, so can we make a note on that? So, because the way I'm listening to it, I'm thinking all salaries are coming out of general fund.
We will still have positions that are funded by grants.
So some are called mixed, right? They call them blended or something like
Blended,
that. I wasn't sure. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was still in place. Thank you.
Yes. Any questions on the budget?
Go ahead, we're done. No question?
I do have one comment, I guess, not really a question. Just, you know, you laid it out pretty well in your presentation, so thank you for that. But just looking, you know, forward the next year and the following year, I assume the state at some point is not going to have every increases for students per pupil that may, pause or get cut back because of the recession. Then ESSER obviously is kind of sunsetting out. So I think it'd be useful in the future, I don't know, in 6 months or whenever you think it's appropriate, to just update us about what this can mean for us as we work to really pay for everything we have when it comes to FTEs and our existing school buildings, because we're at the cut at some point. And the fund balance is, it's being dwindled each year. So that's my only comment, but thank you so much.
Madam President, I have one last question.
Sure.
Ms. Cleese, can you explain to me the difference between operational deficit and structural deficit? What's the difference?
So a structural deficit is when you have more expenses than revenue.
And operational?
It's basically the same.
So they're basically one and it's just interchangeable words. Okay, thank you.
So you're running your operations with more expenses than revenue.
I guess my reason for asking is we were told that, I guess I was hearing a lot about structural deficit in regards to being separate because of the building, the maintenance of just all of the property and the facilities that the district currently has. So for me, it's confirmation and clarification for me, knowing that they're just interchangeable words. So it helps me to understand. Thank you.
Yes, trustee King.
All right, this thing, yeah, it's on. Hi, Ms. Cleaves. Great work on the budget. Do want to make sure I say those words. But I noticed that, we, like last year and a couple months ago, we was projected to have a $14 million deficit. We decreased to $10 million. What changed?
So we did have some vacancies that were budgeted in that initial budget, and we were able to clean up staffing on that end, so that helped. And also, we were able to move items that were originally budgeted in general fund over to grants. So that also helped to decrease. Forthcoming too, with more information, we are closing a building, so some of those costs also would not be in the initial budget.
Can I add to that?
Okay.
For President. So we also, something that has not happened in years, we also met with all department heads and went over their budgets. We've been rolling over budgets for years. And so all those vacancies and upcoming here soon, without giving the date, and please understand why I won't give the date, but we're going to have staff pick up their checks downtown because we're cleaning up the entire budget. We want to make sure we put eyes on everyone that is working in the district, and we are ensuring that there's no ghost employees anywhere in the district. So that's coming. That's going to be coming up. We're not going to give a date. We're just going to let the folks know when to do that. It may be a small inconvenience for some folks that's used to debiting their money, but I appreciate the work that Ms. Cleese and her department has done with meeting with the superintendent, myself, her team, meeting with all other departments, going over the budgets to ensure that what's in those budgets is necessary and scaling back where we can. So to go from a $14 million structural deficit down to 10 in this year alone was a big feat, but it's a huge success for us. And we're able to show the state of Michigan that we are still consolidating and we are finding ways to get ourselves closer to the black. So thank you.
Yeah, that is, I want to make sure we recognize that and we talk about that.
Good job.
Look at there.
That's worth clapping for.
I want to make sure we recognize that piece because the work is actually being done by, you can tell from numbers. Make sure that's publicly said. Also, in the budget, as we prepare for transitioning from ESSER, being dependent on ESSER to actual general fund, what programs have we eliminated and what programs have we had stay?
So we really didn't have programs in ESSER.
Okay.
It was more or less, the majority of that budget, honestly, is construction.
All right.
So we had a huge budget for construction in there of like $34 million. And The salaries, of course, got moved back to general fund, and then we have the curriculum purchases and a lot of supplies, but all of those were just one time. So
Okay.
there wasn't actually any programs charged to ESSER where we had to make a decision whether we were gonna keep it and move it to general fund.
So we didn't create new positions based on ESSER for the district, right?
Right, no new
So we just
positions.
moved the regular position that we had charged out of ESSER instead of just making a new position. Okay, so I'm proud to say I'm glad we did that because most districts, to my colleagues, are cutting staff because they employ people based off of their ESSER funds and they have to lay off staff and terminate. And that's good. I'm glad we use construction and also supplanting. I'm glad we did that. Finally, is there a way, because I think it's important to show the progress that we've made to compile or this already under works, to compile a presentation to the community based off what we did with our ESSER funds. Because, I mean, my colleagues know there's a bunch of misinformation given by many elected officials, many people in the community that we didn't spend our money, and we actually did. We got proof to show it, but I think it's important to show the community how we use our ESSER funds. Is there a way we could create, like, I don't know, like a couple-page document that we have, because especially as we go in neighborhood meetings and share and inform what we did. Is there a way we can do that, or?
Yes, and also remember in previous presentations, which I can share back out, is there's a link, and at any time you can go to that link, select Flint Schools, and it'll show you exactly
that.
what was spent.
Okay, all right.
But it's not a problem to put that together on
And
a slide.
I think I think that would more fall into more PR of what we've used our
Okay.
ESSER funds for, to kind of show the community. So I think that's something that we can work with Ms. Jones on, more than allocation as far as, hey, we spent $25 on headphones or something like that. Showing everything that we, in a document as far as PR. And I
Yeah.
think that's more of is that more where you're going?
A little bit, yes.
To be able to use in the community?
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
because other districts are creating binders, but we don't need a binder. We just need like a couple-page document giving the community access, hey, this is what we did, so they know what we exactly did with public funds, because we can go back to a bond that we got about energy conservation, and that was poorly done, right? So basically, we're reporting out what we actually use our money for. That's just a request if it can be done. I mean,
So
can be-
trustee Key, you saying like maybe, we need to have it at our right at our hand, so if we somewhere I can print it, it'd be
Yeah.
sent to me and I can put it in.
we can share it out, right,
share it
on
out,
social
then when I'm
media or
going
something
somewhere,
like
I
that.
can have it.
Especially like when you go to Brownell Holmes Neighborhood Association, report it out, because I think it's important for our team to be the beacons of information and factual information as we go out, right? Because we all go out into different neighborhoods, different sectors in the community. We having something tangible to be able to say, okay, we did X, Y, and Z as talking points for us actually,
Okay.
with factual information. That's just a request, if it can.
Madam Chair, were you finished?
Yes, I'm done.
I just have
Trustee
one question.
McIntyre was next.
Okay. I just want you to know I want to talk.
Yeah, and I would like to follow up on that, I think that's a really important point that you've made, Trustee King, but I would like to emphasize that Ms. Cleaves has a very particular role. Her job's not PR, and it's not to kind of disseminate financial information in different ways so that it looks a different way. I'm very happy and impressed with the level of this budget presentation just for us. So if we do decide to have some kind of a presentation or a binder or something for the general public, if, as you suggested, we have a team, and because she has her job to do, and it's a very important, I would like her to focus on that and not worry about how it appears to the public. I mean, you've got laws and rules and regulations to follow, and you're doing an amazing job, and that's it. And we'll deal with the rest of it, like your team. Thank you.
Absolutely. So remember, board, the forums we've done had that itemized out like that, with ESSER 1, ESSER 2. Now, we haven't done it totally with ESSER 3, but the forums does show how we spent those funds in a presentation form. So we'll continue to do that, and I'll work with Ms. Jones on preparing something for you, so you have something in your hand to be able to show the community. So we'll take care of that.
And just to follow up right quick too, on Flint's website is a link just for ESSER. So all of the information, all the presentations that have come before the board, all of that information is there for the community to see. That's actually a requirement for the ESSER funding, is that we have this web page up. So that information is also on the website.
Trustee?
Just real quick, the state has a transparency report where all this is filtered into, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the link I was referring to, where you can click and you can see
Okay.
all districts.
That's
So,
what I
yes.
thought. Okay, because I mean that way, I mean I knew it wouldn't be anything you would have to generate because I knew about the transparency report. I just wanted to say that to my colleagues in case they were looking for that information. So
Madam
thank
Chair?
you for that.
Hey, can I speak?
Sure.
Yeah, really quickly, and it's kind of to that similar point, but, you know, as you meet with stakeholders at the state, MDE, legislators, potential funders, I think it would be good for you if you had like a one-pager, bullet points that talks about all the steps you've taken to reduce our deficit, from the reorg to the phased, you know, school closures and repurposing. And if you could tie like a number by it too, but just, you know, in the future, and not a request, just thinking out loud.
There's not any more questions or comments? Are you done? Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Kalaji.
Your team have done a fantastic job. I appreciate the work that you have done. You made it simple, and you make our job a lot easier because you're the think tankers, and I appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yes, it is. I now call upon Superintendent Jones to present action items to the board.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve 11.43, resolution to adopt final budget amendment.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion, we adopt Resolution 11.43.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussions? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve 11.43, resolution to adopt final budget amendment will be conducted by a roll call vote. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre? Yes. Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Myself, President Mike Mills. 7 yes, 0 no.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve 11.44, resolution to adopt initial budget amendment.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion, we adopt Resolution 11.44.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussions?
I just got one quick question.
Yes.
Mr. Jones, in just layman's terms, could you explain to the board and the public what that zero-based budget is?
So a zero-based budget is just a budget that expresses only what you need,
Okay.
only what you need. We are not totally zero-based yet. That is some of the work for next year that myself and Ms. Cleaves have made a goal for ourselves, which we would love to get into a conversation with the Board of Education. But it really just gets us down to the needs we have in the district instead of vacancies that we're leaving out there that's rolled over since 2012 or 14. It's just really getting down to our needs.
And then kind of a follow-up to that, what was the impetus to move towards that model?
Cleaning up the budget and trying to ensure that we're fiscally responsible.
Okay.
Not rolling over the budget from year to year, but trying to get us to the place where we're totally transparent in what we're doing, and we're not paying out money or holding vacancies that we're never going to fill.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Let me say one more thing.
Okay, cool.
All right.
My bad.
And the reorganization of positions, ensuring that we are taking vacant positions and those that are maybe doing those jobs, we actually put it in writing and say, this is your job now. And we pay people accordingly to what that may look like, but we're also saving the district money at the same time. So you've already started that work with several positions where we've taken a vacancy and we split those duties between two people. That is a part of the reorganization of the district. And so we're really ready to and prepared to show that to you, but we're going to schedule a meeting for that to happen.
Thank you. Trustee McIntyre.
Yes, and not to belabor the point, so this isn't a question so much as I guess, a commendation to our superintendent for being a superintendent and stepping up and actually doing the hard work that is necessary in this district. And I'm so glad to see that finally happening after, years of being on the board and asking for this kind of work to take place. Not that it wasn't, for whatever reason, it just hadn't been done in the past. And we have decades of malfeasance, mistakes, errors, and this is a clean slate. It's like, my analogy is that we have a bathtub and the water's been running out and we keep adding water to the bathtub and you're never gonna have a clean bath, right? But we're emptying the drain and all that scum and residue from decades past that we've inherited, we're cleaning it up. We're cleaning it up. And I really appreciate you taking that initiative and stepping up to the plate. And it's a daunting task, and I don't think anyone has had the courage for decades to do this. And it's about time, and I'm glad you're doing it, and I fully support you. So anything you need from the board in order to do that. Now, that doesn't mean you're off the hook, Superintendent Jones. Doesn't mean I'm like rubber stamping everything and anything that you're doing, and I think you know that. But I just had to give credit where credit is due, because we all have eyes on you. Everyone has eyes on the district, and we're being diligent and vigilant about this work, because it's about saving this district, keeping it as the Flint Community Schools, not GISD, not out county, and keeping it public for all of our scholars. This is going to be the place for people to go. This is going to be the choice again. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more comments? Thank you, Mr. Jones. Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve 11.44 resolution to adopt initial budget amendment by the state. It'll be conducted by a roll call vote. Board members, I call your name. Please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, 7 yes, 0 no.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve 11.45 tax levies 2024-2025.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion we approve resolution 11.45.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve 11.45 tax levies 2024 to 2025 will be conducted by a roll call vote. Board members, I call your name, please yes or no for the record. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, President McNeil, yes. 7 yes. Seeing no further business of the board, I declare the annual budget hearing meeting adjourned. At what time? 6:07.
We got 23 minutes for the next meeting.
Perfect. Flint Board of Education regular board meeting to order at 6:12, thank you. Board members, I call your name. Please state for the record, present. Trustee King,
Present.
Treasurer Luna,
Present.
Trustee Relaford. Here. Vice President Clack,
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer McIntyre, Secretary Perkins,
Present.
myself, President McNeil, 7. I will call upon Secretary Perkins to read the district mission statement and first statement in the standards of practice.
District mission statement. It is the mission of the Flint School District to develop a community of learners who are prepared to live, work, and contribute in an ever-changing society. Flint Board of Education standards of practice. In order to provide outstanding leadership and better serve the Flint community schools, we, the members of the Flint Board of Education, commit to the following standards of practice. Number one, we will be consistent in our dealings with each other, as well as students, staff, and community.
We will model trustworthiness and honesty in our relationships with each other, with our superintendent, and with our constituents.
We will focus on common goal of providing the best education possible for the students in the Flint Community Schools.
We will respect the diverse views that each of us brings to the organization, as well as the view of others that we interact with as we carry out the business of the Board of Education.
We will be open and authentic with each other, our staff, and community.
As we work to make decisions, we'll focus on issues and not personalities.
Our decisions will be student-centered and based on objective facts.
Practice good listening skills to better understand our fellow Board of Education members and constituents.
I seek a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the May the 8th, 2024 Board Committee of the Whole meeting and the May the 15th, 2024 regular board meeting.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Are there any corrections? Seeing none, the motion to approve the minutes from May the 8th, 2024 Board Committee of the Whole meeting and May 15th, 2024 regular board meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Board members, I call your name, please say yes or no for the record. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, McNeil, yes, 7 yes, 0 no. The board will now hear comments from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on the matter within the authority of the board and not address individuals by name. The presiding officer of the board should have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Please state your name and address first before beginning to speak. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address the board?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if someone comes later, would you allow them an opportunity to have public speaking since we didn't start at the normal time?
Thank you. I now call upon Superintendent Jones to present
You're not going to
action.
answer me?
No, I don't have an answer right now, but we'll cross that when we get there. I now call upon Superintendent Jones to present action
What?
items to the board.
What box you call Philip under?
All right, I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve resolution, 1.8 personnel recommendations.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I make a motion we approve resolution 1.8.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move Resolution 1.8 personnel recommendation will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
No.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, Mike Neal, yes. 6 yes and 1 no.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 11.46, approval of air monitoring at Brownell and Holmes.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing there is no further discussion, the motion to move Resolution 11.46, approval air monitor at Brownell will be and home will be conducted by roll call vote. Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
No.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. 6 yes, 1 no.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 21.25, approval of sound technician contract.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve item 21.25.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, we will conduct a roll call vote for action item 21.25. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
No.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. 6 yes, 1 no.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 21.26, approval of amendment to the Executive Director of Academics contract.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion we approve 21.6.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing there's non-discussion.
Madam
we'll-
Chair.
Yes.
What is the purpose? What is this based on? Because it just got in the position. What is this based on? Did she do an excellent job or what? What is this based on? Was this, well, also, was this in the cow? Was this in last week's packet? No. So how
No.
did it get here?
It doesn't have to be in the cow.
Thank you.
But we'll meet about you. Okay. No further questions.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing there's no further discussion, we will conduct a roll call vote for action item 21.26. Secretary Perkins,
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre,
Yes.
Vice President Clack,
Yes.
Trustee Relaford.
No.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Treasurer Luna,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. 6 yes, 1 no.
I don't think I should be seeking this motion.
Okay, we would need someone to. Vice President. He can speak on that. Oh, you got it.
Excuse me. I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action items 21.7, the approval of superintendent's contract.
Support.
Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I
Treasurer Luna?
Yeah, it's a couple things. I'm gonna be supporting this. I read through it, the revised version, obviously, that we got in hard copy. Thank you, Mrs. Beer, for that. But I think this contract reflects your growth and the results of your leadership the last really 3 years now, going on 3.5 years, I believe. But I also thought about this. I did some research quickly, that is, before I came here. And it hasn't been since 2012 where Ms. Thompson, my old principal at Washington, had more than a 3-year stint at Flint Community Schools as a district leader. And this contract reflects 5 years. So 5 years from now, it'll be your 8 years if you're still around, which I hope you will be. And that's just a testament to how effective you've been. And it also speaks to like your leadership and your resilience when it comes to dealing with what our students face, different challenges from this board, and not just, when I say board, I mean the body itself, not the folks on it, but the board, because you've seen some stuff over the last 3 years. So I think finally it's a symbol to our community that we are serious about leading this district, from essentially failing at leadership. I mean, we've had so many people come in and out in your role. We've had cabinet members leave and come. I can go on. And I would just say this too. I really think you should have like a CV of all your accomplishments. I mean, if you were an elected official, you would be working on that right now, talking about, how you invested ESSER dollars. I mean, that's millions of dollars that we invested into our buildings, into our students, into learning loss, the phased approach when it came to downsizing and repurposing, the partnerships that you've built, the ones that you're working on right now. We're meeting about that Thursday. So just things like that, I think you should really document and just keep, and just to have as your own personal kind of record, but also to share with the community. So I think you're doing a great job. There's always space for improvement, like anything, but I'm looking forward to supporting this, and I think the compensation is fair, in my opinion.
Is that it? You done, Dylan?
I'm done, thank you.
Trustee McIntyre.
Yeah, again, not to belabor the point, but I think that it does need to be said that this is a step that I think is very noteworthy and very important, that we as a community, we as a public school district, we have a vision, we have a strategic plan, we are putting our faith and our vote behind a 5-year promise to the community that we are moving forward again to keep public schools public and to keep them in the district. That is our goal. It's community focused, it's student focused, it's teacher focused. And Mr. Jones, I have seen such hard, diligent work and growth. And again, I'm not just here like cheerleading for you, because you know that I can be your harshest critic as well as your biggest supporter, depending on what it is that you do. And you've rolled up your sleeves. I know you personally have taken hits to your personal and professional life, and this 5-year contract is standard. This is what is needed. This is what we should have been doing all along in the district. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's selfishly motivated in that it's locking you down. You can't, well, it's not locking you down, but you've read the contract, but we don't want you going anywhere, right? There's a shortage of superintendents, and we try to pay as much as we can, but it's woefully inadequate compared to what you could get in other districts. And we recognize that, we acknowledge that. Thank you for your service, but more importantly, thank you for your heart and for being able to recognize not only your achievements but your missteps and to move forward. And I don't really see a lot of missteps these days. Like I said the last meeting, I'm feeling hope for the first time that we might be able to salvage something for our future, for our community and our kids and our teachers. And I appreciate you, and let's keep the hard work going. Thank you very much.
Secretary Perkins.
I just want to say I'm proud of you. I really am. I didn't realize how much you do in the course of a day. And you had some of your staff commenting on how you run from one meeting to the next. I really was impressed with all of the things that I've been watching. I've been watching you, but I know you anyway. I know you. My eyes are on you. But you have a good leadership style and the ability to do the job. And that's why I'm behind the contract. A little long overdue, but here it is. And I think this team has grown a lot, and the administration. And kudos to everybody. You know, the teamwork makes the dream work. And it's showing in the budget, it's showing in the mannerisms, it's showing in the staffing, it's showing all over the place. And I am very, very, very proud to be a part of this leadership. Thank you very much.
Trustee King.
Yes. When I think about this resolution, there's one word that come to mind. It's consistency. It's consistency. As my colleague has said, this will be a historic moment for our districts for a long time. When you think about, I always tell my colleagues, once we approve something, our vote, it means something. Once we vote yes, right, once we vote no, we send waves to a district. Always say that. And, you know, hopefully tonight, we all vote yes. It sends a message to not just our staff, not just our community. It sends a message to the whole United States of America that see us for a community that's been through a water crisis, been through a lot. But in public school education, I'm with my colleague, Trustee McIntyre. This is a testament of public schools actually working through its problems and getting to somewhere. And I would say somewhere has been long overdue for this Board of Education in this district. Mr. Jones, you have pulled, I would say since the new board got there, you know, there was some work done with the old ones, right? We all know the past, but throughout the year, we've been here. Year and a half, we all been here. You have made about a decade's worth of change. I don't know if another superintendent can pull that off. Being new on the role, being through the challenges that this district has, the financial challenges that this district has as well, I'm not sure, you know, who else could do that under the pressure that's constantly being there. I also would say, we all know the behind the scenes work you've been doing, advocating for our scholars to get what they deserve from the state. You know, with MDE, legislators, you've been doing the work. Honestly can say, I'm glad we have Superintendent Jones here at the helm, and hopefully we approve the contract for 5 more years. That'll be, what, 8 years altogether for you lasting through? That's amazing work. Mr. Jones, stay the same and improve, right? Like, we all have improvement processes to go through, but I appreciate your leadership here. I appreciate how you've brought things together. Just thank you. But again, this is consistency.
Thank you.
Trustee Williford, you want to speak? Okay, so I will, I'm sorry, President McNeil, go ahead.
Well, I couldn't make a better statement than what's been said, but I do have to speak from the heart as it relates to going on 4 years on this board. And I really say that God has people in the right place at the right time. And this board that we have now, I truly believe that it couldn't have gotten done without the board that we have sitting at this table. And we learned how to get around personalities. And now we're moving to a bigger arena. We are doing something unprecedented. We're allowing one person to stay in a position long enough to make a bigger and better change. And that has been the problem for the last few years. Up and down, up and down. And guess who we was hurting when we was up and down and acting a fool with each other? We hurted the kids. We hurted the district. I have been speaking with Mr. Jones. He has made a commitment that he's going to work with his employee. He's going to make things right. Because there were some things that was done that we had no control on. And he's working with that, trying to make things, make the wrong right. I just thank God for each and every one of you. I thank God for you, Mr. Jones, and you know how I am. I'm your advocate. Then again, I gave you hell for the first 2 or 3 years, but that's part of growing. I myself, as they say, I am older than all of you, but you know what? I learned something. I learned, and that was the point for me. You never get too old to learn, and you never get too old to be nice and kind to one another and respect for each other. And I made a promise that I will watch what come out of my mouth. It's not what was said to me, is how I respond. And I'm being conscious of when I speak to my superintendent. I would not embarrass you in public. I would not put you out on Front Street in public, because there's a place and time for that. And I think that's what makes us so well known when we go to conference. It feels good knowing that Flint is in the house in a positive way than being laughed at and make a mockery out. So I'm going to support this contract, and congratulations if it passes. Thank you.
So I'll take my couple seconds. I will also support this, and I'm going to repeat my thoughts out on the floor so everybody can hear. 5 years from now, most of us will be gone unless we seek re-election. So my thoughts were, we don't need to be hoping that the next board is going to be able to find or deal with contracts or however the situation may play out. So my thoughts were, if we secure the superintendent now, at least for another 5 years, we wouldn't have to worry about the district worrying about or trying to find, or, you know, whatever the situation may be. Then you've got 8 years of experience under your belt at that point. So I think it was a good, was it Trustee King that brought it? Was that you, the 5-year? I can't remember who brought it, but right. Okay, so I think that was a great idea, and I'm all 100% for it. So that's been it. So seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve action.
Vice President.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to have words. I had a conversation with Mr. Jones, and I thought it was very positive. I think you have room for a lot more improvement. I don't think it's necessary to start over with another superintendent, but I do believe in allowing a person to grow, and a person can be stagnated when you tell them they're amazing. No one is amazing because you're in Flint Public School. Something can happen to totally just derail you. But I just ask you to just pivot. And the Bible says, watch when everybody speak well of you. You got to watch that. So I just wanted to make sure I said that.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve action item 21.7, the approval of superintendent's contract, will be conducted by a roll call vote. Board members, as I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Secretary Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre.
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford.
No.
Trustee King.
Yes.
Treasurer Luna.
Yes.
President McNeil.
Yes.
And myself, Vice President Clark, vote yes. The motion passes 6-1.
Thank you.
Do I get this back?
Okay. Board members, in your packet, first of all, thank you, board. Thank you for approving the items tonight. Board members, in your packet is a VARTEC Customer Service Satisfaction Survey. Do any board members have any questions?
I want to ask a question about, how's VARTEC doing? What are we doing with them lately?
VARTEC is doing an excellent job with their work. VARTEC, actually, we affirmed VARTEC in a meeting we had the other day because they've been the most consistent third-party contracted in our district over my tenure as superintendent. Whenever we have issues or problems, and our team can attest to this, VARTEC is right there. Shout out to Mr. Jolly and also Brianna. Brianna is like, you know, she works at the central office, so we have more communication with her. And something go wrong with your computer, no more than seconds after you put in a ticket, she's standing over you. That's right. And also in the schools, we've heard from different leaders in the school and teachers, things get done with VARTEC. And so we haven't had, of course, you all receive updates from VARTEC as well. And so we haven't had a lot of issues there, and we can truly say that they're a great partner to have.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to pop in with that because, you know, again, VARTEC has just been amazing. I've worked with so many different companies and organizations, and so, yeah, shout out to Mr. Jolly and to Brianna. It's like you said, you ask for help, and a second later, she is there. And it's so important with IT for our cybersecurity. They just handle it. They make it look like it's just effortless. And so I do want to give credit where credit is due because it is a thankless job, and if we didn't have them, we'd really be struggling in a lot of different areas. So, yeah, I just needed to say that. Thank you, VARTEC.
We're done?
Yes, ma'am.
Seeing no further questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a comment about them. If I may, Madam Chair.
Proceed.
I love VARTEC. I love Brianna. Whenever I call her, she called me right back, and I'm always forgetting my passwords, and she never complains. She just helps me out. So I really appreciate VARTEC, and I just appreciate their pleasant customer service.
Yes.
And internal customer service goes a long way. I wish more people understood internal customer service. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Field to join us for the end of the year academic update.
Good evening, Board. First of all, thank you for the extension of my contract. I appreciate that support.
Speak up.
I said, first of all, thank you for the support and the extension of my contract. I very much appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Are you guys bringing it up there? I had sent it through to Pam. Hang on just a minute. I'll share it with you. I can send it to him as okay.
Can we put it up, though? Okay.
Thanks, Pam. I appreciate that. So while they're pulling that up, I'm going to go ahead and give you just a small update on our quarterly presentation, or our last quarterly presentation that we did with the MDE. That took place back in May, and behind that, we went ahead and we had the MDE come in today and work with the principals on a mock-up of what our 18-month benchmark would look like. And I'm really excited to be able to present this information for you today of what we've been able to accomplish in the past year as it pertains to our partnership agreement and what it's going to mean for the coming of our 18-month benchmark that will take place in November. So part of our presentation, what we really want you to pay attention to tonight are all of the great check marks that you're going to see that we were able to achieve, both through the help of our staff, from our central office, from our executive cabinet team, and from this fine board that has done the amazing work in making sure that we can move this needle forward. So part of the thing that we were able to accomplish in this past year is that we've been able to implement a literacy implementation plan, which helps us toward the improvement in closing the gaps of achievement for both math and for literacy. We have a startup of the math. We are only responsible for a literacy implementation plan, and that has been that was done through our work with our MSU fellowship partners, as well as the work that we did with diverse libraries, and in addition to that, professional development that was stemming around the curriculum that this board invested into. In addition to that, we've been able to do some planning for our coming year of the 2024 professional development, and that we're working towards making sure that there is themed and focused and engaged teaching and learning, focusing on classroom management, standards-based planning, instructional delivery, student engagement, learning support services, test preparation. And all of that has been able to be accomplished through the board's support and through the district's support of this particular plan. I don't think it's going to let me, I won't be able to access it from here, but copies of our draft literacy implementation plan is available in this board packet for you, and you'd be able to access that and review the implementation plan. That implementation plan will be followed next year by district walkthroughs to ensure that the literacy plan is being implemented appropriately and that we're providing the strategic things that are necessary for our scholars to be able to be successful. In addition to that, we were able to put a check next to our attendance, one of the places where I think that it matters the most in making sure that students can get to school. And one of the ways that we did that was overwhelmingly by making sure that there were initiatives throughout our district that encouraged and incentivized students to come to school by both the purpose of incentivization, but also in engaged classrooms. And as a result of that, we have some of our buildings that did really well in reducing their chronic absenteeism, which is one of the most important parts of what we do here in Flint Community Schools. Notably, we had Eisenhower, and Mr. Thomas was able to do presentation out at the GISD for his Strive for 5 work, which was previously mentioned in our last month, or our last updates. And we also have Nethercutt that did a really good job on reducing theirs as well, their chronic absenteeism as well. And so we were able to put a check mark next to that. This is probably the one that we're most proud of. All of these particular goals have met their 18-month benchmark, as according to the state of Michigan. The board has achieved their particular, not just their 18-month benchmark, but their 36-month as well. We also were able to go ahead and with the support and of the amazing work of our Director of Human Resources, have a technology-based platform which has been implemented, and that she's been working with to make sure that we not only have it implemented, but we've also met the 24-month benchmark, or the 36 as well. This past May 3rd, the district administrators participated in a DEI workshop in partnership with our Michigan State partners, and we have now started working on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity workshops for our staff for next year, and they'll be experiencing that within, I think September is when we've got that slated for, and then we will have met that goal. And then we also have developed a plan in partnership with the Talent Together, which has allowed us to meet our 18-month benchmark goal to make sure that we had a plan to be able to facilitate more K through 2 certified teachers. And that is all of the hard work. Those are your check marks that we've been able to approve, and that we've been able to show the state that we have qualifying our particular celebrations for the district. One of the things that we wanted to make sure happened is that our staff had an understanding, particularly principals, for what it means and what their support would be for the partnership goals. And so we had one of our state partners, Dan Ledoux, came in today, and he worked with our principals on a mock-up of what that 18-month benchmark will look like. And that particular venue that happens, there's groups of principals, there's groups from the state, and there's groups from our GSD partners that get an opportunity to partake in the rubric and be able to identify whether we have really met those goals or not. So it's a collaborative conversation. And I'm really happy to report that not only the places where we have not yet reached those benchmarks, that we will be well ahead of the game, and right now we only have one that's outstanding, and that would be because we don't have access to that particular information yet. Our scores are embargoed right now, and so we won't be able to know until the fall whether we've met that particular goal or not. In addition to that, your school index score is one of those indicators, and that also is not available until the fall for us to be able to find out if we've reached some of those benchmarks or not. So thank you for your support in these initiatives. I hope that you are proud of the partnership work that we're doing and that we're continuing to make sure that we keep achievement and student scholar-focused engagement in the forefront of what we're doing here with Flint Community Schools and the Office of Academics.
Thank you.
Any questions for today?
Madam Chair? I have a
Yes.
comment. Yeah. Thanks, Ms. Fields, for your presentation. I thought it was great. And let me preface, it's not a criticism. It's just maybe just a different way of thinking for future presentations.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if quarterly or like mid-year mark, but I would say maybe consider showing us some information too as you're like, because these are excellent, staff inputs and district inputs, but tying these inputs to student outcomes and outputs. Say, hey, you know what? We did this alternative pathway program with our teachers. We adopted this curriculum, and over the last 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure the time frame, we saw growth, with NWA or like on the M-STEP, just kind of to tie, those two areas together. And again, it's not a criticism. I'm just saying, maybe a paradigm shift in how you present that in the future.
I absolutely
But again,
agree.
I like what you did here. I'm just saying as an idea.
No, I totally received that and received what you've said. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Trustee King?
A couple of things. I want to, 'cause I feel like we sped over the slide about capturing kids' hearts.
Yes, sir.
Eisenhower, first year achieving
Yep.
National Showcase School. They haven't been able to do that, right?
No, they haven't. This
I
is their
think it's
first year.
important. I think it's important to highlight how Eisenhower was able to be a National Showcase School this year. That shows leadership, that shows climate and culture changing for the better. So congratulations and to the Eisenhower staff, their principal, Mr. Thomas, and leadership there, but also, to admin, right? Like there's some work being done
Absolutely.
from top down to ensure climate and culture is shifting. And also to our 2 schools that's been consistent, Freeman and Accelerated Learning Academy. I think it's important to just pause there because capturing kids' hearts is student-led, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's
Much of it
students.
is, it's a collaborative effort between staff and students. And no excuses here, but I had put that in our updates for last month, I believe that it was, or the superintendent, one of the 2 of us had announced that last month. So that was my only reason for glossing
That's
over
all right.
it.
No, that's all right. I just want to make sure
But I appreciate the
if I didn't see it, yeah.
affirmation
But
again.
I do want to make sure I did point out that because it's amazing to see one of our school buildings being showcased.
Yes, sir.
For the first time. I'm also want to go back to, I'm sorry, 'cause I was supposed to email you this. The chronic absenteeism comparison.
Mhm.
I want to get more understanding. So the chart here says the number of students chronic absent. And so let's take Brownell, for instance. So 301 students are chronically absent or
Yes, that would be the number of students. Chronic absenteeism is, it is measured by 10% of the days that a student is present in or is enrolled in a school.
I see the decrease. I acknowledge the decrease from over the 3 years in total.
Yes, sir.
However, we've seen, I think it's more time to dive deeper in that, in my opinion. I'll leave that for our offline conversation.
So some of the initiatives that took place in this next year that we're hoping to see an impact on next year is the attendance works that we attended this year. Our part of our district implementation team has been a part of that. They attended 4 different sessions through the work with the GISD. They also have started implementing into the regional assistance grants incentivizations that were birthed from that particular initiative that we should be able to see an impact on that next year for sure.
Okay.
Any more comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, not any comments or questions, but thank you. We've been up here, you know, we talked about the superintendent's hard work and his contract, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, you know, to extend my congratulations to you for your hard work and for being able to do a contract for you as well, to make sure you stay here. I know you're here because it's not just a job for you, it's in your heart as well. And that's invaluable. And your work here is transformative, to be honest.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you, Ms. Trustee McIntyre.
So, thank you. And you know, I would love to give you more examples of how you've touched a lot of the students personally. But I think you already you know those things. So I just wanted to do it publicly.
I appreciate
you're
that.
an important part of the team, and you know, sometimes it goes unrecognized. So thank you, Ms. Fields.
I appreciate.
Trustee Perkins?
Yeah, I would really like to piggyback on what she said, because, see, I've been out in the field with you, and I see a lot of the things that you do, and I really appreciate your hard work, and I know your heart is with the children, and you do a great job, and I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I wear Flint on my back. I do. I love our students, and I want to see them have every greatest opportunity that we possibly can, and I'm hoping that you'll see more great things for me in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more comments? Thank you, Ms. Fields.
Thank you.
Board member, before we adjourn, do you have any comments
Yeah.
or
Madam Chair.
remarks? Go
I
ahead.
have a few comments. All right, I'll be quick too, because it's
Thank you.
still sun outside. I would just say this, you know, it's been a huge learning curve and a growth period these last year and a half. I mean, there's 5 new members who came on this board last January, and it was very contentious, and things did change. And I remember just walking past some of my colleagues and not talking to them, and at the end of the day, you know, we're here for the community and to boost student achievement and to really revitalize our district and to ensure our students are successful in college, life, and beyond in career. And I'm just happy that, you know, this board, for the most part, came together, focused on students, and when there were disagreements, for the most part, we kept it respectful, and even oftentimes came to a compromise where we all didn't get everything, but we got something, and it really supported keeping students safe and making sure that they have a good place to learn, whether it be the renovations, some of the not very popular policies that are meant to, you know, keep them focused in the classroom and keep them safe within our buildings. But I just think we have a lot of work to do, but I know this board and this administration and this community are up to it, and so I'm looking forward to getting that work done, even though it might not be easy every time. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Trustee McIntyre.
Yeah, and just real quick, I just wanted to restate what I said last week in terms of moving forward as a district. I'm hopeful. Again, a call out to the state to eliminate our debt. That would actually help us do even more good work. And this systemic structural deficit that we've been put in, we're rising to the challenge. But honestly, it would be wonderful if it wasn't so challenging and it wasn't so inequitable and unfair. We know that what the Flint community has been through and continues to go through, and so I extend my challenge to the community, to the stakeholders, to the state, to other organizations. Come join us. We're not a foe to fight or to be against, but these schools are yours too. You're part of the school system, whether or not you have children going to this school or not. Come join us, help us make this school system better for all children, because it will make all of us better, and fight to save the the public schools and to keep them going, to keep it moving forward. So thank you to the board, thank you to the executive team as usual, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Any more comments? Madam Chair. Yes.
I do want to inform the board that the HR Committee of the Whole meeting will be occurring soon. We'll send you a date out so we have time in advance. But to talk about how the reorganization of HR, not just HR, but the district and staffing going forward. Ms. Montgomery have a powerful presentation I think is important for us all to know and understand as, you know, as we move forward and reorganizing the district. But I do want to make sure I do tell that my colleagues that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any more comments? Yes.
Juneteenth is tomorrow. The district is closed, so we are celebrating our rich history with Juneteenth. Want to make sure we acknowledge that, but we also want to acknowledge all of our staff that has done a wonderful job this year, from our cabinet members, central office, principals, all the way through to our maintenance team, this executive team that has worked very hard this year to make change. So we want everyone to have a wonderful summer, and we are starting summer school. Starts Monday. Summer school starts Monday. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of those that have worked very hard, including our partners, working very hard with us to ensure the success of our scholars. Throughout the summer, we will continue our renovations, and some dates for ribbon cuttings will be coming to the board very soon. So until we come back together again, enjoy the weather, and thank you, Dr. Joyce.
Thank you. The Board of Education will hold its next meeting on Wednesday, July the 17th at 6:30 at ALA. Seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 6:59. Perfect time. Okay, I want to make sure.